Thank you very much. So despite the best efforts of British Airways, I'm here to tell you about IIIF, a global community network. So here's a map of IIIF adoption across the world, sort of showing how it's been adopted over the last few years. The red dots represent those who have implemented IIIF. So if you're implemented and you can't see your red dot, please let us know. And the yellow dots are those who are investigating IIIF. So it's grown massively over the last few years, with over 100 organisations implementing or investigating IIIF. And that represents over 335 million images shared via IIIF. And obviously that's growing by the day as more people digitise their content and put them up and more adopters come online. Obviously there's a bit of a concentration there in some geographical areas which we'd like to see spread a bit more evenly across the map. And I'm going to give you some examples of content that haven't been discussed this morning, or I don't think so since I was stuck at Heathrow. So this is Brown University from the US, who have implemented IIIF and have adopted it for their images of plants. So they are digitising 34,000 samples from their collection, and there will ultimately be over 100,000 samples IIIF compliant of plants. And this is in addition to manuscripts, archives, cover-to-cover books, art, museum objects, scrolls, etc. Here's another example of plants in IIIF from the National University of Columbia. And the World Digital Library, WDL, has implemented IIIF. It's a project of the US Library of Congress carried out with the support of UNESCO, the United Nations Education, Cultural and Scientific Organization, in collaboration with libraries, archives, museums, educational institutions and international organizations from around the world, making their cultural heritage manifests available. This is especially relevant to our meeting because I think you can see something that's nearby there, and also an example of traffic signs, which is always useful to know when walking around Rome. The WDL promote international and intercultural understanding. They expand the volume and variety of cultural content on the internet, providing resources for educators, scholars, and general audiences to build capacity for partner institutions and narrow the digital divide between providers. IIIF is also being adopted in Cuba, a collaboration between the National Library of Cuba, the Central Library of the University of Havana, and the Library of the Cuban History Institute. And they plan to publish main digital collections of Cuban libraries and other institutions using IIIF as a cooperative national project, sharing a platform to the development of digital libraries. This is currently available using Mirador for maps, manuscripts, rare books, architectural documents, historic photos, posters, and atlases, just showing the variety of content you can make available. So the benefits of joining this global community is the sharing of technical expertise, advice, and best practices, learning from each other and connecting with new cohorts. There's community solutions for software and systems. Hopefully, if you've got a problem, somebody else there is working on it too. Learning firsthand about new digitisation projects across the globe that we can join together with, and the sharing of content. Please fill in the survey, which hopefully you'll have seen and will be shared out again, so we can find out more about your plans and use of IIIF. Now I'm going to talk about Europeana and what they're doing with IIIF. I'm a member of the Europeana Task Force for IIIF, and there's other members here over the next few days, so please ask us any questions. So Europeana, which I'm hoping you'll all have heard of, is an aggregator making available metadata from all EU countries, over 3,500 galleries, libraries, archives and museums. Its content is all available under a CCO license, and there's more than 54 million objects in around 50 languages. Europeana has been investigating IIIF and has become a member of the IIIF consortium at the end of last year. Was elected to the executive committee of IIIF. They've been adopting IIIF technology into the Europeana technical infrastructure and undertaken case studies with the University College Dublin and National Library of Wales to implement aggregation of IIIF content. Now they want to encourage more data providers to serve images through IIIF, which is why the task force was set up. So the task force has a short time frame from February to the end of this month, and it's being led by the Austrian National Library. So the purpose of the task force is to identify trends and tendencies towards IIIF by the content providers. And because IIIF has been adopted by Europeana, and they want to see how we can encourage others to adopt it and help them with that. So there's going to be a report published at the end of this month with recommendations on how to go forward. So as part of the task force, we've been having a number of discussions about where to go, and we wanted to know, well, who's using IIIF, what level are they at, what involvement is there in the community with the adopters and the network, Europeana network, how can Europeana help people, and what's the best practices. So we've asked 3 institutions to give us use cases of what they've done so we can share that with others, and what the opportunities for IIIF. So a survey was undertaken in April, so hopefully those of you who are Europeana content providers got that, and we had 67 responses, of which 52 were IIIF aware, but obviously that's only a small snapshot of the content providers from Europeana. So the report will be published at the end of this month, combining the survey results and the discussions we've had, and that will be published online at this website. But please get in contact if you've got any questions or suggestions. And I'll now pass over to Sheila.